Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some breaking news coming out here for you, and I want to bring another update regarding Ukraine. And just yesterday, I reported that Ukraine had launched like well over 60 drones into the Krasnodar region of Russia. That's kind of near like the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. And they targeted like some oil depots and also a Russian military airfield that was targeted, and there was some destruction there as well, some planes that were destroyed and some buildings. So while that happened, at the same time, we had Russia launching a massive wave of missile strikes inside of Ukraine, targeting more thermal power plants and also some gas facilities as well. So, yeah, apparently they were hit pretty hard. It wasn't reported as widely as what Ukraine was doing, but Russia did hammer Ukraine pretty hard. And their Dtek group, it's a thermal power plant company that manages energy supplies for a good majority of Ukraine. They were coming out and reporting major attacks on their facilities. They have like 4 out of 6 thermal power plants that were destroyed. Okay, during this attack last night, this was one of the most major attacks that Russia has launched on thermal power plants in Ukraine. And we know for sure that Russia's been doing this over the last like month or so. I've reported it many times that they're just completely destroying Ukraine's energy sector, while at the same time Ukraine is trying to do the same. Okay, Ukraine has been targeting dozens and dozens of oil depots inside of Russia, and many of them being destroyed. So I want to go over this. I have a post here on X. Okay, this is from Dtek Group. So Dtek again is one of those major power plant companies in Ukraine. So they put out a post here and said 4 of our 6 thermal power plants in Ukraine were struck in a new wave of Russian attacks on Friday night, hospitalizing an energy worker and seriously damaging equipment on which millions of Ukrainians depend. We are currently assessing the level of damage and how long it will take to recover. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, Dtek thermal power plants have been attacked over 170 times. Isn't that crazy? 170 times. I actually heard 180. The enemy had already attacked our thermal power plants in massive attacks on March 22nd, March 29th, and April 11th as it seeks to cripple supplies of energy to millions of ordinary Ukrainian homes and businesses. Last night's attacks underlined the continued urgent need for Ukraine's allies to provide stronger air defense systems. So they put a picture here, and it says 4 Dtek thermal power plants hit in a new wave of Russian missile attacks. Missiles slam plants across the country, threatening power to millions. One Dtek employee taken to the hospital with injuries sustained during the attack. Fourth large-scale attack on Dtek's infrastructure since March 22nd. Dtek renews calls for urgent replacement equipment and more air defense support. So we do know that they are getting more air defenses right now. There was also like a $6 billion support package that was announced for Ukraine coming from the U.S. I think the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, he came out and announced that they were going to be sending some Patriot missiles to Ukraine. So they are getting air defense, but they're still, at the moment, they're short on them. And apparently they were able to shoot down something like 2/3 of these missiles that came into Ukraine. At least that's what we're being told. But the attacks were massive here, okay? We're talking multiple thermal power plants completely destroyed. And it's once again putting more strain on Ukraine's energy sector, which has already been suffering, okay? Especially near certain cities like Kharkiv. Okay, they've been having like rolling blackouts in those areas many times due to many thermal power plants being destroyed in that region. So definitely Russia's doing some major damage to Ukraine's energy sector here. And how long can they keep this up? You know, that's the question that I ask, is how long can they continue to sustain energy for the population of Ukraine when Russia keeps doing this? Because it takes much longer to repair these facilities versus destroying them. Russia can destroy them, in one night. And it could take them 6 months, a year, or longer just to repair. And this is a picture right here of one of the facilities that were hit. I think this is a Dtek facility that was destroyed. And as you can see there's just, rubble everywhere, and just, it was completely attacked and destroyed. And we also had reports too that there were some casualties in these attacks. I don't know where these casualties came from. whether it was an attack on a thermal power plant or where it was, but we did hear some reports that there may be some people who were killed in these attacks. So let's go over this as well on Reuters. Russian missiles pound power plants in central and western Ukraine. This just coming out yesterday, okay? So Russian missiles pounded power facilities in central and western Ukraine on Saturday, increasing pressure on the ailing energy system as the country faces a shortage of air defenses despite a breakthrough in U.S. military aid. The airstrike carried out with long-range missiles, including cruise missiles fired by Russian strategic bombers based in the Arctic Circle, was the fourth large-scale aerial assault targeting the power system since March 22nd. President Volodymyr Zelensky repeated a plea to partners for defensive missiles, notably the Patriot system. He said the targets included electricity and gas transit facilities, in particular those important for gas supply to the European Union, though he did not say whether any such facilities were damaged. Russia continues to supply gas to the EU via Ukraine under a transit deal with Russia's Gazprom that is set to expire December, in which Ukraine says it does not plan to extend. The enemy again massively shelled Ukrainian energy facilities, said Dtek, Ukraine's largest private electricity company, adding that 4 of its 6 thermal power plants had suffered damage overnight. Rescuers battled to put out fires at several energy facilities in the western regions of Lviv and Ivano-Frankivsk, which border NATO members Poland and Romania, officials said. So regarding this, I did hear that it was like 24 hours later and they were still putting out these fires at these energy facilities. And these attacks were mostly in central and western Ukraine, okay? Much further away from the front lines and all that. It wasn't eastern Ukraine so much that did get hammered this time. It was mostly central and western Ukraine. We also had some reports, too, that more missiles were heading towards the Polish border, but then they turned back around, and I think Poland was scrambling fighter jets again, thinking that some of these missiles were going to enter their airspace and to prevent some sort of attack on their territory, but luckily these missiles did not enter their airspace and turned around. So after strikes on energy facilities in the central Dnipropetrovsk region, running water supplies were disrupted in President Volodymyr Zelensky's hometown of Kryvyi Rih, officials said. Ukrainian air defenses brought down 21 of the 34 incoming missiles, the commander of the Air Force said in a statement. None of the facilities hit was identified by name, a security measure intended to prevent Russia quickly assessing the impact of the strikes. Zelensky said the trajectories and nature of the attack had been calculated to make preventing it as hard as possible. Each downed rocket today is a significant result. So that just goes to show you right here, if they're not really reporting what was actually attacked, not identifying the facilities that were attacked or anything like that, that shows you there was probably major damage. That's what I'm thinking. And then also we had the report coming out from Dtek saying that 4 of their 6 thermal power plants were attacked, and heavily attacked, okay? The pictures that I was showing you there, completely destroying the facilities, okay? It's definitely going to take them some time to rebuild and get it back up and running. So Ukraine's state-run oil and gas firm Naftogaz said Russia had attacked its facilities, but no one was hurt and supplies to Ukrainian consumers and clients were unaffected. Russia, which began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, denies targeting civilians but says the Ukrainian energy system is a legitimate military target. Ukrainian authorities said 1 energy worker was hurt overnight. So also here in northeastern city of Kharkiv, which has been heavily bombed in recent weeks, a missile struck a hospital. Look at that, isn't that crazy? A hospital, guys, holding 60 patients overnight, injuring a woman and damaging the building. Nearby water pipes and power lines, the regional governor said. So I just don't understand why they're targeting hospitals. For sure, what I have seen, based on what I have reported, is Russia is definitely targeting lots of civilian infrastructure, okay? Random houses, gas stations, hospitals now, schools, things like that. And then whenever we see Ukraine, at least from what's being reported, we're only seeing attacks on primarily like oil depots, okay? Not so much their energy sector, but we're seeing like steel plants being attacked, things like that. And I'm not saying that these are not civilian targets, but we're definitely seeing like attacks on like a hospital, for example. That's just absolutely crazy. Like, what's the need to go after a hospital where people are suffering in there and trying to get better and heal from something that they may be struggling with. But that's just something that I wanted to note that I've seen a lot of based on the reports that I've done. Ukraine. So let's talk about these rolling blackouts real quick. Ukraine has lost 80% of its thermal power generation and 35% of its hydroelectric capacity during Russian attacks, officials say. Though the core of the energy system comes from the nuclear power, that lost capacity serves a balancing function in the grid, and its loss could be a big problem when consumption rises later this year, officials say. Rolling blackouts have been introduced in several regions, but the full impact of the attacks has not been felt as consumption, which peaks in winter and the height of summer is low because of the mild weather. So that's something to think about when it starts getting warm. People are going to need to use air conditioning. They may need to use much more energy than you would normally use during the winter, okay? During the winter, you're not running air conditioning or anything like that, which puts less strain on the power grid. But during the summertime, that's when usually energy facilities are at their capacity. So we may see by this summer, especially if Russia continues to strike these thermal power plants and more of their energy sector, by the summertime, they could definitely be suffering for energy. There were no planned blackouts for now in Lviv region, but the governor urged residents to economize on electricity use, especially during the evening hours of peak consumption. He said the two critical energy infrastructure objects in Sturi and Chervonorad districts were damaged in Saturday's attack. Zelensky called for more air defense supplies, faster deliveries, and decisive actions from Kyiv's allies. The United States approved a major package for Ukraine this week, overcoming a congressional deadlock that dragged on for 6 months as Kyiv's weapon stocks became depleted. The Pentagon said on Friday it would buy $6 billion worth of new weapons for Ukraine, including interceptors to the Patriot air defense system. So I mentioned that $6 billion coming from the United States for Patriot missiles. Okay, Australian Defense Minister Richard Marles, who visited Lviv on Saturday, announced a $100 million military aid package, including short-range air defense and drones with air-to-ground precision munitions coming separately. So, I mean, just look at the amount of support from all around the world that's really helping out Ukraine right now. I mean, I'm not trying to take sides here, but I think it's amazing that the world is coming together and helping out Ukraine when they're coming under attack here. Because at the end of the day, like I said, what I've been seeing here a lot of is Russia targeting tons of civilian infrastructure inside of Ukraine. And, there's lots of video footage, pictures, everything of just towns in Ukraine just completely destroyed, okay? Just like what we're seeing here, where there's just whole blocks of streets just leveled, okay? Just completely destroyed by Russian bombings and all this war, especially on the eastern side of the country. It's just a complete, it's hell over there, basically, is what it is. And I can't imagine what these people are going through, but I just wanted to report on this and let you know what's going on. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I said I would put out a report on it, and I wanted to get that out there to you to let you know what's going on. But yeah, yesterday, Ukraine got hit pretty hard again in their energy infrastructure sector. And, this is going to continue. We're going to see Russia doing this. They're going to ramp this up even more and continue striking, probably once a week, once every couple weeks, and keep hammering these facilities. And Ukraine's not going to be able to repair them quick enough when they keep coming under attack unless they're able to stop these attacks using Patriot missiles or air defense systems, which they desperately need right now. So, but that's going to be it for this update. I'll go ahead and let you guys get out of here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit that notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.